There's a reason why most people will never build real wealth. And it's not because they're unlucky. It's because they spend their whole life waiting for the perfect hand of cards instead of realizing they're already holding the deck. Today, I'm going to show you 3 mindset shifts that flipped the game for me. The exact ones that took me from being broke and uncertain to building a multi-million-pound company, and none of them require luck or a trust fund or some magical talent, because I didn't start off with any of them. Most people think wealth happens to you. Right job, right timing, right market, so they wait, hoping someone picks them and gives them a promotion or invests in their idea. Years go by and nothing really changes. When I was 21, I thought my life would change if I just got lucky. I jumped job to job, gym sales, side hustles, hoping one day I would find the perfect role or someone would just give me that break. And it never happened. The turning point was the day that I realized my income was just a scoreboard of my own decisions. If I didn't change the way I acted, the skills I built, the rooms I stepped in, the risks I took, nothing would change for me. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Stop waiting for the right opportunity. Start creating it. Learn a skill that makes money move. Sales, marketing, operations. One of the first things I went to learn was sales. I initially had multiple jobs. So what I did was I started off at 14, 15, I did a paper round. I just wanted to make money. I was literally making £15 per day every Saturday. Then I worked in a restaurant, and the restaurant was actually my first time I sold something and I was influencing someone in a professional manner, because I was told in the restaurant, as a waiter, I can get a 20% uplift on every single table's bill if I was asking them the right questions. So what I was told to do was go to each table and build trust with them, offer to sit them down, be nice to them, speak about their day, what they've been doing, show genuine interest. When they would ask me what drink they would like or what food they would like, I sometimes wouldn't show them the most expensive because I wanted to win over their trust. I would show them maybe the second expensive one, and I would talk bad of the one that was the most expensive. I would say, no, you don't want the expensive wine. The second is probably way better, it tastes better, and it'll save you 50 quid as well. So I won their trust over. And now once I won their trust over, I can approach them all night and say, hey, would you like another drink? What can I get you? Oh, your glass is close to finish. Let's get you another drink. Let's get you another glass of wine or another Coke. And I would upsell so much more on the table just by winning their trust over. That was my first time of actually influencing people. The guy who was running the restaurant, he was great with people, great with like every single person who walked in, they absolutely loved him. And I kind of learned how to speak to people and influence people from him initially. From that point to my first proper sales job, which I'd say was about from the restaurant job at 16 up until 24, probably worked like over 20 or 30 jobs. Some jobs that lasted a day, some jobs that lasted a year and a half, but from there I bounced from sales job to sales job. And I realized each job I'm doing, I'm just learning more skills. Every job gave me some sort of skill that I can now use later in my life. Every single role. When I worked in a call center, it was about the volume of dials. When I worked in gym sales, it was all about the discovery phase, learning how to ask great questions to find their deep pain point. When I worked selling coffee machines, it was all around B2B sales, learning how to speak to business owners and how to send proposals. Each of the jobs that I worked taught me something different, which then fast forward to me being 30 years old, I can use all of these skills not only to be able to sell better in my business that I've opened, but also we consult businesses. We help B2B and B2C businesses grow on their sales function. And because of all of that experience and all of that sales management experience that I got in my 20s, I was able to build systems for all of these companies to grow. You see, it was just constant skill stacking. You want to think about skills that you're just stacking little sub skills on top of those skills. If you think about a skill as a sales development rep where you're doing outbound calls, think about all the little sub skills underneath the SDR skill. So let's say they have the skill of making a lot of dials. Within that skill of dialing, how many sub skills sit between it? Well, the efficiency of using the computer on how fast you can get through the system, the way you're going to be dialing back to back, the focus on how you're going to move from one prospect to another after you get told no, the ability to learn your script, the ability to take rejection over and over again, the ability to transition through the script in different ways. All of these little skills have more skills underneath them. So if we just pick one of them, which is how to take objections on a call, within the objection handling, there's sub skills. You know how to handle objection. Well, you also know how to change your tone when someone speaks to you. You know which words to say. You know when to pause. You know when to call them out. You know when to push. You know how to handle that objection within a certain framework that we like to use in our closers manual. Is it an uncertainty-based objection? Is it a money objection? Or is it a partner objection? And then we also have training within that. So look at all of these sub skills within just objection handling. Every skill is made up of sub skills. So you want to put yourself in environments where skills matter, and you want to choose action over waiting every single time. But even when you act, here's the silent enemy that kills momentum for most: And most people don't even see it coming. Point 2 is the stories that you tell yourself that decide your ceiling. You can have the skill, you can even have the opportunity, but what if the story in your head says something like, people like me don't even make millions, or it's too late for me? You'll sabotage every step forward. Most people build invisible prisons within their own beliefs. When I first started sales, I was terrified of selling for high prices. I thought, who am I to charge £10,000? I'm just some kid. That belief kept me until I met my mentor, who told me, you don't get paid for what you're worth, you get paid for what you believe you're worth and can communicate. I started to rewrite my own story. I was someone who helped companies grow. The moment my internal story changed, my income followed. The most powerful stories are the ones you tell yourself. You want to audit every belief that you have about money and see how it's stopping you from becoming successful. Write a list of everything that could be creating your own suffering. So write at the top, what things am I doing to create my own suffering? Column 2, you want to put what beliefs do I hold that could stop me from making more money? And you want to write a list of all your beliefs, and you want to question your own beliefs, because that is the best way to grow. This is more self-accountability. Rather than paying somebody else thousands to coach you, if you run through this yourself, you'll be able to coach yourself. And someone who can coach themselves is playing the infinite game, because they can improve all the time. You want to ask yourself, who gave me this belief, and is it helping me or holding me back? You want to replace your victim scripts with I'm unlucky with ownership scripts. I choose and I create. And it leads me on to my next point. Once you change your inner story, there's one more habit that you need to break, and it will quietly accelerate all of your wealth, and most people completely miss it. You want to learn to shut up and move in silence. We live in a world that rewards showing off, cars, watches, revenue screenshots, but chasing validation burns energy, and it paints a target on your back. It also keeps you distracted from the work that you actually need to be doing to make you rich. When I started making money, I thought I had to prove it. I'd like to talk numbers with everyone, tell everyone my plans. You know, it felt good until it didn't. Competitors copied, people doubted me, and my focus started to slip. When I finally stopped talking and I just started to execute, everything sped up. Deals closed faster, distractions disappeared, and my success became undeniable without me having to announce it. And side note, everyone will come to you when you don't need to announce something when you're successful. Work hard in silence and let the success make the noise. You want to stop broadcasting every move. You know what I did when I first opened my business? I would tell someone, yeah, I'm going to make $1 million here. I would meet someone new and say, what's your revenue goal? I would ask them a question only to unload all of my ambition on them. So I would say, oh, what's your goal for your business? In the back of my mind, I'm waiting for them to shut up just so I can talk about my goals. And I'm going to say, yeah, I'm trying to make this much money. This is my goal. This is what I'm trying to do. And you know when I did that, you hurt yourself in 2 ways. One, you give yourself false dopamine. If you release dopamine by bragging that you're doing something that you're not, what will happen to your brain that it's already got the dopamine of achieving something when you don't deserve it? You've not achieved it yet, but you've achieved some sort of accolade. People start to respect you for something that hasn't happened. That hurts your progression, because you have to actually have done it for you to brag about it. If you brag about it early, like most people do, like even I did when I was young, it hurts your progression. I would actually side on underplaying what you're doing. If you underplay what you do, no one will expect you. You stay focused. Your mindset is to prove everyone, and they won't see you coming, but eventually when you grow so big, they will 100% notice it. And my framework is to build in private and share wins later, not intentions now. I focus on depth of work, not attention. The quieter you move, the faster you grow. Because when your actions compound quietly, wealth stops being a dream and it becomes inevitable. These 3 shifts believe in choices, not chance. Rewrite the story that limits you. Build quietly and let your results speak. These 3 points are the ones that turned me from being broke to building a multi-million pound business. You don't need luck. You don't need a trust fund. You need ownership, better beliefs, and focused action. If this resonates with you, drop a comment below. I'd love to know which point hit you the hardest, and if you're ready to start creating your own wealth story.